Let's move on. NFL training camps are opening, and a really unique story that's just kind of busted out in Washington, D.C. about the NFL.
Yeah, I saw the headline about this, about the Rooney Rule, and are they thinking about maybe turning the page?
That guy is demanding they turn the page. That guy is DeMaurice Smith, the outgoing president of the NFL Players Association. He has just retired from that position, and he put on a seminar at Yale University last week, and he proposed a 10-point plan for the National Football League to change the way they interview head coaches. He obviously is pushing hard for more minority hirings, and he wants the infrastructure of how they interview these guys to be changed differently. In essence, he said the Rooney Rule has failed. I tend to disagree a little bit with him. However, DeMaurice Smith has proposed that he leads the formation of a coaches union. And he's got all this experience in collective bargaining, having been the head for a decade plus of the Players Association. Now he's talking about forming a coaches union. He's also said, the NFL, we need transparency about who you interview, how you interview, what the process is like. None of this stuff hidden behind this purple curtain. And he says they want, if they form this union, they want an independent auditor that will then publicize on an annual basis in a report all the interview processes with all the teams in the NFL, who they interviewed, what happened during the course of the interview, etc. They, in essence, are trying to get rid of the, quote, token interview.
Right.
So that's a big issue there. He's also going to demand that the NFL eradicate the rule that you have to ask for permission to talk to a guy on somebody else's staff. Because clubs can block guys. The league theory is you can't move as an offensive coordinator with the Chargers and become the offensive coordinator in Buffalo. You can't make a lateral move. He wants all that eradicated.
Yeah.
Guys have a right to move to a different position, move up, move over if they wish.
Sure.
For more information, gathering information. He also wants to eliminate the permission clause that you don't need to ask to interview a coaching candidate on another team. But he also says, let's stop the stupidity that this is a fair process, because if the New York Jets fire their coach October 30th, they have all this lead up time. He wants the calendar of events changed, which means we can't have any early interviews. You can't interview anybody until the Super Bowl is over. Everybody who blows their staff up starts absolute square one, ground zero. We all know what the rules are because the league is going to publish annually what the interview process is like. He also wants these positions posted for a 30-day full period. So he's saying transparency, this job is open. Tell me what the New York Giants did to fill this job. Make that information available to everybody. He says the Rooney Rule has failed. I'm not sure it's failed, but I think there's so many interchangeable rules that you can't talk to this guy during this portion of the playoffs. Other teams can start their interview process. It's very convoluted. He wants it crystal clear, black and white. This is the structure. This is what you have to do. Do you think the Rooney Rule failed?
It seems like it's manipulated a lot, where they'll bring in a coach of color, and it's sort of like a token interview. It's so they can check a box to say they've done it. But if you there's obviously the race issue, and there's a lot going on with Supreme Court, affirmative action, et cetera. But there still are discrimination rules that apply across the economy, not just in football, that you think would apply. But to take it a step further, when these coaches when these owners fire a head coach, they usually have someone in mind that they'd want. There's always some hot guy that they would love to just slide right in. They don't go through, let's just say, a completely open and fair and balanced interview process, because people have their favorites. Regardless of skin color, they're going to pick who the hot guy is. And it might be like the new coach in Houston.
Exactly. I think the other factor is, because people raise red flags and say, oh, now we're going to have a quota. The NFL has to have a quota number of minorities as head coaches. We can't have that. Owner has to hire who the owner wants to hire, who he believes is the right guy to hire. But the process seems really, really flawed, and that's what's got DeMaurice Smith up in arms. And that's why the Brian Flores Miami Dolphins lawsuit with 3 other black assistant coaches who thought they really got screwed in the process, that suddenly the New York Giants are going to bring Brian Flores in for a head coaching interview, and he finds out through the background that they'd already made a commitment to another head coach. And
It's
Brian
just a
Daboll.
dog and pony show.
Yeah. So DeMaurice Smith is going to try and clean it up. I think the first thing that's going to happen, I think there's going to be a coaches union. And I'm all for it because coaches need representatives.
Sure.
So-
And I like the idea of just sort of setting the ground rules.
Okay.